Welcome back to Talking Potheads. I'm your host, Ashleen.
And I'm Riley.
And today we're starting a whole new series. Welcome to the Exchange series on Talking Potheads. In this special series, we're diving into the world of the Exchange, the premier B2B networking event for the cannabis industry. This year, we'll explore how these events are shaping industry connections, starting with today's conversation with Susan and Julie, the co-directors behind it all. Then we're taking the podcast on the road to the Exchange in Eugene, Oregon, where we'll bring you insights straight from the event floor. Stay tuned for an inside look at how cannabis businesses are building meaningful partnerships and driving the industry forward. The cannabis industry thrives on strong relationships, but finding the right business partners isn't always easy. That's where the Exchange comes in, an exclusive B2B networking event designed to facilitate high value, face to face meetings between brands, retailers, and industry leaders. Today, we're joined by Susan and Julie, the co directors of the Exchange, to explore the vision behind this premier event and why it has become a cornerstone for serious cannabis professionals. They'll share their journeys in the industry, the challenges of producing large scale networking events, and how they're shaping the future of B2B cannabis connections. We'll also discuss what sets the Exchange apart from traditional conferences, the impact it's had on the industry, and why businesses looking to grow should take advantage of this unique opportunity. Whether you're a brand looking to expand, a retailer seeking the right partnerships, or simply curious about what goes into building one of the industry's most effective networking events, Susan and Julie are here to share their insights. Let's dive into their journey and the impact of the Exchange. Welcome, Susan and Julie. Thank you guys so much for being
Awesome.
here.
That was a great introduction. I think you covered it all.
Thank you.
So let's get to know you guys a little bit better. Susan, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in the Exchange?
Yes, Julie and I are partners. We really are partners in crime. We do it all together. We both really handle so much of the details that go into this, but I would say I handle more of the marketing side of things, more of the communication side of things, and of course, sales, sales, sales. We are in sales mode pretty much every day, making sure we communicate with the vendors, the retailers. Although we both do everything, I tend to handle more of the vendors coming into the events. Julie handles more of the retail side of things. That's how we divide our responsibilities. Julie?
Yep, I handle the retail side. I handle more of the getting the facility and the events off the ground at the locations and just some more of the logistics. And yeah, it is conquer and divide. You take this, I take this, and we'll both just keep moving forward. There's no moving backwards. It's only forward.
Yeah. A lot of what we do on the technology side, the platform for the event, those kind of things on the back end, the technology, very much is self-taught. I always say we're building the plane while we fly it. That is the truth in how we've put these together.
We definitely know what that's like as partners in crime ourselves, me and Ashleen, and then our third with Melissa at Take Root. We definitely know how it's important to be have a good team and to be able to divide and conquer and go with everyone's strength. So I love that's the vibe that we've got going on today. And I'm curious about how you guys got into the industry. Maybe Julie can start this time, but how did you get into the cannabis industry and why did you want to create the Exchange?
Well, Susan and I worked in a prior industry that was a retail aligned association, a trade association in the retail space. And the cannabis industry was growing, and retail stores and the cannabis dispensaries are retail stores. Consumers go in, they purchase products, and they need a retail experience when they go into those stores, so they come back and want to be a continued customer. So we just, I don't know, segued. We took that retail and segued into the cannabis space. And we were actually doing a little bit of speed networking in our last job and kind of fell into speed networking into the cannabis space. We didn't invent it, of course. It's been around for a long time. Other industries do it. They've been doing it for a long time. And we just, I don't know, we just fell into it.
And I think it started, as Julie said, when we were at this retail association. A lot of the members there provided things like fixture and design and technology, all things that cannabis stores needed. So our initial thought was, how do we connect our members and the people that we're working with these cannabis retailers? It grew from there to include product. The things, so we always say it's about things that you can put on your shelf and things you need to run your store. But it really started on the running your store side of it. And we realized that with a lot of cannabis retailers, they're small. They do everything. One person might be making decisions on what products to buy and what technology to use for the back end. And so it just started to grow to incorporate all of those categories.
I feel like from the outside looking in, a lot of people, when they think of like an expo or a conference, really in any industry, they're thinking of something more like MJ BizCon, where you have your big table and people are just filtering through. The exchange is not that. Julie, you said that it's speed networking already. How is that different, and why is that kind of a better model for the retailers?
For the retailers, they can get 2 days of work vetting vendors and communicating and having time not distracted in a store with customers coming and going potentially, and giving a vendor 2 minutes versus 20 minutes to really understand their product, really develop maybe a relationship, who you really want to work with. So it's great for the retailers, and the vendors, of course, have a very measurable ROI when they can write a PO order right on the spot. It's business. Business is getting done. It's not a big giant party. We start early in the morning. We go hard all day. People are exhausted. Talk all day.
Yeah, I think for anybody that is ever been in sales in any industry, getting in front of the right person takes a lot of work. There's a lot of work to, and especially so in this industry, you've got reps out there driving all over the state. You show up at a store, the buyer's not there. Their daughter's homesick, possibly. Right? We never know about how those things are going to happen, right, Ashleen? So this is a situation, as Julie was starting to say, like you can get like months worth of work done in 2 days, because you, on either side of this, for the retailer or the vendor, we do have a good time and we do have a party, but it is about business. It is literally, here's 20 minutes, go. Start talking about your product, start talking about what you need for your store, and let's get business done. For a lot of retailers, it has become a really great way to vet new vendors, because they're getting calls, they're getting samples dropped off, they're getting calls every day. I have a lot of retailers that tell vendors, you know what, meet me at the exchange. And they get 20 minutes, and if it's somebody they want to do business with, they can bring them into the store. If it's a no, 20 minutes, it's a no, moving on. It saves everybody a ton of time.
So the idea being that vendors kind of have a space that they can set up, and then they schedule meetings with retailers, so that's how that speed networking piece of it works. You're getting, 10 minutes with each buyer, with each retailer, so that they can see what you have quickly and efficiently.
Right, it's 20 minutes. The meetings are 20 minutes long, 10-minute breaks in between. And we do this in other places besides just Oregon. And so the format's a little bit different. We do it in Michigan, and we're launching in Colorado this year as well. So in Oregon, yes, the vendors have the booth space. They set it up. You've been there. They bring couches. They make it as comfortable as they can for the retailers to come to their space. In the other markets, it's actually reversed. And the retailers have the space, and the vendors set up activations around the room, have exhibit tables, but they go to the retailer. There's benefit to both, doing it both ways. We can see the benefit of both. It's just how the event has grown that we do it differently in different states.
Can you go into a little bit of the differences that you do see when the vendor is the standstill versus the retailer is the standstill?
I think the biggest thing for the retailers, and Julie can confirm this because she speaks to them mostly, it's hard for a lot of them to get out of the store, to get out of the office and think, I'm going to be away from my desk for 2 days. I can't afford that time. When they're the ones that are sitting in the booth, right off the bat, they've got their computer open, they're sitting in one place, they've got all their things they need around them. So they're still plugged into their office. That's a big selling point for them. When it's the flip, however, you don't have that. We obviously give space for the retailers in Oregon to sit down at a table. They have places they can go to sit down and plug in. But but it's not quite the same as just having people cater to you and come to you. The flip, of course, is as you've been to the Oregon event, the vendors really go all out, and it's a great opportunity for them to showcase what they do, who they are, who their brands are, to create a space, give the vibe of their brand. In the other markets, we still have that because the vendors have the opportunity to add an activation, and so that they have a table or a pop-up. But that's really the main difference. They both seem to be working.
They both are working, that's for sure.
Nobody in either market wants to change to the other format. So
No.
I'm curious where your first event was. Was it in Oregon or was it somewhere else? It was in Oregon.
it was in
Oregon.
Portland, downtown DoubleTree, in their old, when we started to plan this, it was pre-COVID. So we got shut down for a couple of years before we could get the first event going. When we did finally, we were able to start planning, we started calling around. Julie really started calling around for all the venues. That fell into her bucket. And it was unbelievable how many places didn't answer the phone. Venues, event venues, they were closed. They would say they'd get back to you. They wouldn't. Something really happened over COVID, and a lot of venues shut down. We found the DoubleTree, and they had converted their parking garage, a part of their parking garage, into this big space. And we needed a big space for all of those booths. And we knew they weren't going out of business. And so we felt comfortable that if we went to the DoubleTree, we might be in the garage, but we would have a space. And that's where it all started, was in the garage at DoubleTree.
The DoubleTree. Bring your dogs. They let them run around.
And I feel like stoners are no stranger to doing business in a garage.
Exactly. It was perfect. We have raised the level of our venues a little bit since. We're still at the DoubleTree, but we're inside in their ballrooms now. We have a great space in Eugene that is really, the venue 252 is really modern and cool. We're on a golf course in Michigan. We're going to be on a farm in Colorado. So we're not in the garage anymore, but it worked.
That's so cool. I love that the garage is where you started, and like, look how far you've blossomed. I think the farm in Colorado you said, that sounds so cool. And then the golf course in Michigan, I was looking at that and I noticed that it was like, I Google Maps it and I noticed it was at a golf course. I was like, what? I want to go to that one.
It's beautiful. You're coming. You guys will be there.
Yeah, the view is spectacular of the golf course. It's really pretty. And they love us there. So we love that.
The first year, the second time we went there, people are starting, the cannabis industry, it's evolving. So when we first went to this golf course, number one, we didn't think we could bring dogs, which is a big thing in Oregon. All the dogs come to our event. My dog comes. And we were about the cannabis. By the time after they hosted the first event with us, they totally relaxed. And the second time we were there, we actually were sharing the golf clubhouse with an NCAA tournament that was going on. So there were college golfers on one side of the clubhouse doing their thing. And all they asked us to do was, could you just keep what you guys are doing over to that side? And that is how far, within 6 months, they had come. And my dog got to come. So they had totally lightened up on the event. Yeah, they love us. They beg us to come back, and we're happy to go back there.
That's awesome.
How are you guys choosing which markets you want to visit?
Research, see who else is going to the different markets, how many events we're going to be competing against potentially in the markets. Volume, there has to be enough volume. Like the brand, if it's a brand new market and they have, 3 growers that are growing and, 4 dispensaries that are open, well, that market's just not quite ready for us yet. So the market has to be a little mature. Obviously, Colorado and Oregon are very mature markets. And I think we do great in Oregon, and Michigan's a wonderful market. We've been with them for a couple of years, so we've seen, it evolve. But yeah, there's a lot of markets out there. But for Susan and I, it's just us 2 at the moment. And
well, we have Darla. Let's just say we have Darla, who everybody knows in Oregon.
We do, and we love Darla.
She's on the ground in Oregon, so we've got some help now. We have Shannon in Colorado that runs the cannabis golf league there. And so she's partnering with us on this event, and it happens to be her farm. And that's how we found her. But I think that part of how we look at the different markets to go to, everybody says to us at every event, you need to go to Missouri, you need to be in this market, you need to be here.
Yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot for us. We want to make sure that we're needed in the market, that we're wanted in the market. Part of our model is to work with the associations in the market to make sure that we're not just coming in. Like a lot of events just pop into a market, and not saying anything against anybody else's event, but a lot of times it's just like, where can we make the most money? And we really do look at it as where, at this point, like what market needs help? So it might seem like a newer market would need more help, but as Julie said, they're growing. They don't have as many people out there. A market like Oregon, a market like Colorado, there's so many people that have been in business forever, but every other day, the buyer's leaving, somebody's moving on, one grower is going out of business, or somebody's selling their license to somebody else. So it really is, especially in a big market, like a saturated market like Colorado, it is a way to bring those people together so that they can do business in the market. So these are big states. So all the states we're in are pretty big in terms of driving all over the state. And it just gives them all a place to land together and deepen their relationships. So we'd like to go. There's lots of other states we like to go to. New Jersey, because I live part of the year in New Jersey. But we're waiting for that one. That could be next, maybe.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you guys. I feel like we've been talking about New Jersey too as just somewhere that it's like, a developing market. And like for our training, it's at that point where it's just where they're new, but they're like starting to get, their tracks down. And like, we don't know if we want to be able to influence people at the beginning of the industry, to really tell people to get training in at the beginning, instead of like trying to change minds of like, okay, you're doing something wrong. So I
think
like
you're right.
opposite.
For what you guys do, especially like a market like New Jersey that's new enough that you can get in there and before people get bad habits. What I see with a lot of dispensaries is they get going, they do their own training in-house, and then they just let it roll. They already have a system going, whatever they're doing, and they're not necessarily open to understanding like how much value like somebody like what you guys do brings to the dispensary and really training these bud tenders. I think you're right. I think New Jersey might be a good market for you too.
It's on the list.
So what is, oh, go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead, Ashley.
No, you go.
Okay. I'm curious about some challenges that you guys have faced in the years of you guys creating the exchange. Like what some of the biggest hurdles that you've had to get over?
Sometimes finding space, because you do have to explain that it is a cannabis event and there will be THC touching product there. And we have had, I can make 10 different calls and 2 people may be like, yeah, we might let you come. And then 8 may say, yeah, we're not that interested in you. So finding space is sometimes a challenge, affordable space. That would be one of our, biggest hurdles. And just finding the right people to explain what the event is and what the event isn't. Just hunting down all those people. I mean, Susan and I obviously don't live in the markets, so it would be a lot easier if we lived in the markets and we could go to different meetings and events in this different states and be more a part of the cannabis communities in those states would be awesome, but we just don't. So we're really just, Zooming and calling and emailing people and getting to know them and getting to know their business and explaining what we do and how it can help them.
I think in the beginning, one of the biggest challenges is for the retailers to understand that there's value. The initial objection is, oh, everyone comes to me. Why do I need to go to that? Once they come, like literally it's an aha moment for them where they realize how much work they get done in 2 days without distraction, and that it actually gives them the ability to vet those new vendors. It's not that I think a lot of people out there that are selling, a lot of the growers and the brands sometimes think that there's such a strong gatekeeper at some of these dispensaries that it's that they don't want new products. And that's not really what it is. They just don't have time. So it's a whole lot easier to just keep pushing a button and ordering the same products or looking online and seeing what products are trending. But I think that there's nothing like that face to face. And once they get to the event, they're on the retail side and they realize that they've got an uninterrupted audience, not just with the rep from a lot of these brands, but higher level people at these brands that are coming to the event that also want to get connected with the dispensaries. So there are a lot of higher level conversations that are happening at the event. And I think when the retailers get there and realize that it isn't just a bunch of people trying to hand them samples, there's really some value in those meetings, then that becomes easier. So that challenge, that's not as much of a challenge as it was in the beginning. I think we have a challenge right now with getting insurance, don't we, Jill?
Yes, we were easily had insurance, and now they've put the cannabis question on the insurance forms now, and I have to check honestly, yes, and then they say no, you can't have insurance. So, getting insurance for the events has become a little more challenging. Yes,
And I think too, you know, what makes this event different than other trade conferences are those meetings. And so that's a huge amount of the back end of the work that goes into this. And then if somebody doesn't show up or calls and they're late, their kid's sick, their tire is flat, there was a fire in the store. I could go down a long list of all the reasons that retailers at the last minute can't make it. And so there's a whole shuffling of schedules because it is scheduled. A regular conference, you just show up. And we've been tempted every now and then. We say, why are we doing this part of it? Oh yeah, because it works. But that's a huge challenge, is making sure everybody remembers. They're like, oh, is that tomorrow? Yes, that's tomorrow. Come early for breakfast.
oh, yeah, get up early. Yeah, and the other challenge, just like everybody else in the cannabis space, is banking. Like Susan and I had a bank account at Chase Bank, and we got kicked out. And we are really, truly an events company. We don't own any THC. We don't sell any THC. We're really an events company, but we got kicked out of our bank. That's a challenge.
It's a big challenge for everyone. And so that's why we encourage, we have credit unions and banks that come to the event. And it's important because we know that everybody there needs. We have accountants that come. So it's not just products. We have people that are providing services that all of these companies need. Banking and accounting are huge issues for everybody and for us.
Yep.
Yeah, we went through that one as well. I don't think we got kicked out of a bank account, but it took us a long time to find one. Not yet. It took us a long time to find one that would allow us to have a green account, and it wasn't like overpriced where we're priced out of even being able to pay for our monthly fees every month. So yeah, that one's so tricky.
It's an issue for everybody. Honestly, the list of challenges, like any small business, we each wear too many hats. We, God forbid, knock on wood, something, I don't even want to say it. And we can't jinx ourselves. We both have to be at those events. People ask us sometimes on the phone after we talk to them, are you going to be there? We're like, absolutely.
Am I going to see you at that event? Are you looking at, like, we're behind I'm like, yeah, if we don't show up, it's not going to happen. Like, we're not behind the curtains kind of people. We're there.
So that's a challenge, is how many hats we wear for putting on these events.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your guys' long-term vision for the exchange? Like, how do you see it evolving even more?
Getting into more states, adding more states to our list. Right now we'll be in 3: Colorado, Michigan, and Oregon. And we'd love to go to Missouri, and we'd love to go to New Jersey. It's just, doing the research, doing the homework to even,
find the right partners.
Find the right partners to go into those markets with. So it just takes work, and we're just busy always selling for the next event coming up in March and May and June and August or September and October. That
I think, long term, we want to be in all those states, and we realize that for us to grow, we need partners in each state. That we started out, we collaborate with a lot of different people, but an actual partner in a state gives us a lot more flexibility because it brings other resources into us, other people that can help. And so our model in Colorado is a little bit different in our partnership with them. A lot of that is because, like, Shannon, who's our partner there, has a ton of connections already in industry there, and we're connecting with associations there. So she knows the people that are there in that market. As we say, it's an OG market. So she's got those connections. That's the hardest part for us, going into a new market and knowing nobody. Where do you start? So for us to keep growing, which we want to do, we need to find in each state we go to people that really want to work with us, see the value of bringing this into the marketplace, and finding reliable people to help. That's very good. We've had a lot of different people call us up. We want to help you. We want to do this for you. Can we help? We're like, yes, yes, yes. And it usually nothing happens. Darla's our big exception. Darla's a rock star in Oregon.
She is.
I hope she's listening.
Yeah, that's always so frustrating when you find people who are, say they're in your corner, they're ready to help you take things to the next level, and then life happens, or they ghost you, or whatever. And
all the above.
Right. Yeah, it's gets a little frustrating, but I feel like that just is a good signal that that's not the right partnership, and something better is out there.
We find a lot of people that are in between jobs, right? They leave one job in the industry and they think, okay, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Oh, maybe this is a good opportunity. And we really are open for people helping us. But then they get a full-time job. And then, so that's a challenge for us, not being able to really bring anyone on full-time. And as we grow, obviously that will change. That's one of those things. Hard to know when to make that jump to actually hire true full-time employees.
Yeah. I feel like we are on that precipice as well, just like wearing a lot of hats, trying to figure out how to delegate and how do we, grow as a small team, but the growth is so important. But finding the partnerships is like the key.
Well, and you have to pay people to do work, right? So they've got to be paid. And one of the things for us, we all know what the situation is in the cannabis industry, right? So we're not MJ BizCon. We're not making you spend tens of thousands of dollars to come to these events. We actually have not raised out. Everything that we do costs us more, but we have not raised our rates since we started doing this. And so 23, this is our 4th year. Can you believe it, Julie?
No.
Of doing these events. And we haven't raised our rates because we get what's happening out there. We understand that so many of these companies really are on a shoestring, or they really can't afford a rep, which is why they need to come to this. But we've tried to keep it as affordable as possible. But that also means that it's harder for us to hire and get other people. So we're just working a little harder. So I guess that's a goal. Be able to hire somebody.
That would be a goal.
We care a lot. We are both very passionate people about helping businesses. We've been doing marketing, advertising, sales, sponsorships of events for a very long time. And I remember a long time ago when I was much younger and thinking about I was an advertising salesperson. What value did that bring to anybody? It just didn't seem like a really important job to have. But over time, through a lot of iterations and different places of working with different companies, I have come to realize that what we do by helping people get their brands to market, by connecting people, is really important. And so we have a whole different outlook on it now. And we really value the role we play in helping people be successful. We've had so many people tell us we've changed their life, we've changed their business. We get a lot of hugs at the events, which makes us really happy. We feel very much a part of the industry, not just interlopers popping in and throwing an event, grabbing the money and going. We want people to be successful.
Can you share any specific success stories that you can think of from any of your events?
I mean, just today I got an email from...
Don't say who it was.
I know, a nice size retailer in Oregon who said to me, hey, Did you have an account? Can you give me that information of that accounting guy that was at your last exchange event? So he obviously remembered there was an accounting guy. And I said, sure, I'll be happy to share you his information. So I shared that information, and I'm sure he's probably reaching out to that accounting guy that came to our last
Right.
exchange event. So that's
And
just
that,
one
and
small example, and that happened today.
well, and that particular accountant is coming to the next event. Got
Yes.
so much business from the last event. It was a big game changer for him. No way he could have met, especially as an accountant. That's a great one to bring up. As an accountant, he's
Hey, my husband's
probably
an accountant.
my point exactly. How are you going to get to those people? They're not typically enmeshed in the cannabis industry to go
No.
out and find those people. So they were able to, but we have had, I got on the reason our website loads so slowly is all the video testimonials that are on there. So trying to think about success stories, everything from small brands that are just launching and they walk into that event and they leave with having had meetings with all these retailers and their contact info. It just jump starts their business. And as I said, we've got videos. I have more. I just can't load them all because the website will not load to load all these videos. But people telling us that it really has, changed their businesses. I've got somebody in that very well-known brand is in all kinds of stores, but there was one particular big guy he couldn't get into. They just would never let him get in the door. And he got to meet them at the last event. And he told me because it was all worth it, but if nothing else happened, getting into that one account was worth it. People that tell us, I've been selling to this particular retailer for 5 years. They keep ordering the same thing. I could not, my rep couldn't get 2 extra minutes when they're dropping off a delivery to sit down and tell them about the 10 other SKUs we have. And they were able to meet up at the event. And this is not just one company. This is a lot of companies. They're able to meet up at the event and they'll call us and tell us, my orders for this retailer have tripled. My orders for this retailer they're ordering everything on our menu. Tons of success stories. We like to support social equity licenses. We like to support women-owned businesses. We'll do what we can to give people an opportunity to come to the event that may be very short on funds and manpower, and they'll come to the event and their business explodes. So that's a lot. Go to our website, to the testimonial page. Be patient, and you'll see many success stories.
I would like to share our success story. We went to the exchange in Portland last year, and a couple different successes in this success story. We had a bunch of meetings that I don't think we would ever have gotten without being at the exchange. We were able to sit down with retailers and tell them about our training program, which I think without the exchange, it would have taken us this whole year to get in their face. And then, so beyond that success, just getting people hearing about our offers, a really large retailer in Oregon just logged into their training program. So we have people in our training program now who will affect the industry in a bigger way. And so we have a success story and a great testimonial. And without the exchange, we wouldn't have been able to connect with them, or it would have the organic connections would have taken so much longer than the 7 or however many meetings we had over those 2 days, to be able to really tell people this is what we have and this is what you need. And success story over here.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Really, congratulations. I'm really happy to hear that. That's it, especially for an ancillary service, right? You're not selling flower, you're not selling a brand. To get the time, to get somebody at the retail store to agree to let you come over and sit down and take their time is big. And then for them to be there when you show up, if they actually say they're going to be there, because I've been in sales my whole life. I can tell you, I have flown to cities to meet with one particular client. And as I'm getting off the plane, that meeting's getting canceled. So things happen. And unless you are the most important thing on their day, you get moved here, there, and everywhere. Once they're at the event, they're captive. We feed them well,
Yes, I
everybody
can't
well
move.
there too. So
Yeah,
You
we do
sure
feed
do.
everybody.
food
Which is
and
another
parties and-
networking opportunity.
Yeah, it really was. We've
Sit
met
down.
people at our tables. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Sure is.
for sure. So for businesses that are on the fence, like maybe they're thinking about participating, they're not quite sure, why is now the time to get involved?
Well, I mean, it's always, if you're running a business, even one of the biggest brands in that state, at the very end, I'm not mentioning names on this podcast at this point, but you can find all these on the website. One of the biggest brands in the state didn't come to the very first event because he was in according to him, every retailer across the state. I think he had a little FOMO. He knew we had a good party. He came to the next one and literally said to me, he goes, forgive my hubris. I will be at every event from here on out, because the value of what happened at that event for me in growing my business and deepening relationships was invaluable. So it's wherever you are in the scheme of your business, whether you're brand new or you're an existing business, you run on sales. And if that's it, you run on sales, you've got either you have reps out crisscrossing the state, which costs you money, and this isn't going to keep you from meeting those reps, but it is a fantastic way for your reps to hone in on a whole bunch of retailers in one place. Some they may be doing business with, some they're not. Maybe there's a new buyer. The market is in the years that we've been doing this with Oregon, every year we think, oh my God, the market's got so much drama. There's so many things happening that are negative toward the market. But these are still people's livelihoods. These are businesses that have to run, have to do well. So crawling into a shell when times are tough, or when they think they've grown too much, or there are retailers out there that are not paying their bills. If you're going to stay in business, you've got to stay. And I think, especially in Oregon, there really is no other way to get together like this and really do business meetings. If you're keeping a business afloat, now's as good a time as any you got to keep going out there. Why do you think it's the time, Julie, for people to sign up right now?
I always think it's the time for everybody to sign up. If we're hosting an event, we're bringing it to your town, to your state. I think it's always the time for you to sign up. The retailers come for free. No harm there, right? And the vendors are dying to meet with those retailers, so if we can deliver the retailers and have the retailers have a successful, valued time event for themselves, then the vendors get to meet with them. Everybody's happy. So I think it's always a good time for the exchange.
I also feel like it's worth saying that because this industry is so new, I mean, yes, we've been at it for 10 years now here in Washington, Colorado, Oregon, but the network that we're building and the community that we're building is going to be so key to keeping the industry growing in the way that we want it to, in a way that's going to be beneficial for like the little guy, or so that the industry doesn't get out of hand and all of a sudden it's just a bunch of corporations that are in charge of everything. This is where when you're in these meetings, these conversations are happening and you get to really see what's going on the ground floor. You get to lend your voice to issues and things, things that really matter, so that we can grow the industry into something that's continues to be special, and it doesn't turn into another Walmart of weed situation.
Yeah, it's really true. And I think that at the event, a lot of the people that come to the event, because this is not a bud tender event, this is for people that actually are decision makers. So we have a lot of owners showing up, owners on both sides. So it goes beyond the meeting that they're having about what are you going to buy for your store. This is where they really can have conversations. It's not we do have a cocktail party. That's later. But during the 2 days, you're in a room with people that are there to talk about business. So it's two owners of two different brands talking to their peer about what's going on in the industry. I know of one fantastic partnership that came out of the last event, 2 different people that have formed a new company that will be at our next event. They were both there working with what the companies they were working with. And now they're partners. And I think a lot of that happens. A lot of collaborative things happen there that can't necessarily happen when you go to a happy hour. Right? You don't have the same kind of environment to speak in. So,
and it's also nice that it's in person. I think through COVID and through like the Zoom of it all, and like it's so impersonal, and you don't really get to feel like the energy of the actual market and the industry that you're in. And through like LinkedIn, and you read everyone's opinions, and through Instagram and like all the social media platforms and stuff, you lose sight of what is actually happening in the industry. And so being able to like come and talk to the decision makers and the people who are moving the industry and
yeah,
changing it, you really get to understand like what the pulse is of the industry, rather than like surmising it off of people's Instagram and LinkedIn posts.
I agree. When we first started, Julie, and COVID hit and we had to cancel our first events,
Yes.
all kinds of companies were doing these virtual events with the avatars. If you remember that, like trade shows where you'd have an avatar, you would be an avatar and you'd go into people's booths. First of all, we agreed right at the front. That was completely counterintuitive to what this event was supposed to be. People were asking, we'd
Absolutely.
already started taking money from people
We
that,
did.
and we had canceled. And they're like, you don't want to make this virtual? It's like, that's not the
No.
point. And I know that through COVID now, here we are, right? We all do everything. Julian, I'm on Zoom all day, every day doing that. But when it really comes down to it, there is nothing like meeting people face to face. The conversations you talk about when you're in somebody's general area, that you can just get to know them, understand them, pick up their vibe. And I think we've gotten away from that just in general in society because of COVID and technology and the crashing of those two things together. But I think people want to get out and see other people. I do.
I do. We do. I love seeing real people in real life and like having those conversations, because it is just more personal being in someone else's like aura and being able to feel their energy and all of that. So
I agree.
I'm here for the in-person events.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. But yeah, for our
Mhm.
event too, I mean, people want to bring their flower. They want people to see it. They want the color. They want the smell. They want,
Smell it.
yeah, they want to smell it. So yeah, in person was really the way to go for the cannabis industry events, the exchange that we have. So yeah, it's good.
Totally. Do you have any insider tips for making the most out of attending an exchange event?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yes, come prepared. If you're an exhibitor, you know, what's going to make people come to your table? You need to figure that out. I mean, don't let people
Well, when
walk.
you say explain about exhibitor, because that is probably not clear when you say that, because the
Oh.
vendors get the meetings and they don't have to draw the retailers. So
Correct, they don't. So an exhibitor is someone who has a table in the room, so people do pass by like a trade show, you know, our event really is not a trade show. So yeah, you want the exhibitors to make sure that they're giving people a reason to stop by to say hi to them. And then, you know, the vendors that do sign up, they, you know, can research all the list of retailers that we're coming, and kind of pick their people that they want to have meetings with, make sure they're prepared for their meetings. They know the company that the retailer they're sitting across from is, you know, has 10 stores or 2 stores, and possibly where they're located in the state. And, you know, I think everybody should do their research and be prepared for their meetings.
we have a event platform where everybody gets to build a profile. The stores build a store profile and the vendors build a vendor profile. All that information is there. We open up that platform for people to start requesting meetings on both sides. Take the time to read what the other retailers, take the time to read what the vendors are offering so that you can request, because a lot of times the retailers will just say, we'll just take meetings with anyone, which is great, but they can actually request meetings as well. So I would say to them to take a look at the vendors that are coming, request them so that you get on their schedule. For the vendors, really, as Julie said, research the retailers that you want to meet with and the retailers that are coming to the event. Be prepared to sell to them. It really isn't just, hey, here's my flower, take a look at it. a lot of these retailers, especially the bigger ones, it's a much bigger operation to purchase for the store, and they need to know how you're going to work with them. Are you going to do marketing promotions with them? What kind of specials are you doing? How are you supporting their, if they're going to buy from you, are you supporting them? Do you do vendor days? Be ready to really not just say, this is what I grew. It's so great, because it probably is great, but for a dispensary and with all the fabulous weed there is in Colorado, you need to offer more than just, I grew great weed. I can support you. I can supply you. I'm not going to run out. I can, if you need X amount a month for X amount of stores, maybe I'm not the farm for you. Maybe I am, but be ready to talk to people about what you do and what makes you stand apart. Those would be my tips.
Good advice. Good advice. So if anybody's ready to sign up, maybe you can tell us again which states that you're planning on being at this year. And if anybody from those states want to sign up, where can they do that?
First of all, our website, theexchangecannabis.com. That's a perfect place to start. And if you click on contact, it'll take you to all of our contact information. You can absolutely call us, text us, send us an email, or you can go right there. There's an inquire button and you can fill out an inquiry form, and that starts the process. And we get that right away. We know you're interested and we can call you. We talk about it, but it's really just us, and it is. And so if you want to talk to us, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call us, text us. We do 2 events in Oregon. So this first one is in Eugene, March 18th and 19th at venue 252. Now is absolutely the time. If you are on the fence about Eugene, you need to sign up now. There's lots of reasons to get in early. It helps you in priority within the algorithm in the event platform, getting the meetings you want. But at this moment, we have a lot of people already signed up. We already have over 40 retailers. I can't remember how many vendors, but probably about over 40 vendors. So you got to sign up now, because we will run out of room. The venue in Eugene is a little bit smaller. The second event we do in Oregon is in Portland at the DoubleTree. And that one is September 17th, 18th. Julie, am I right?
Yes, you are
September
right.
17th, 18th. And you can sign up. I have people signing up for that now. I had 2 people sign up yesterday for that. So you can certainly get in and do that. There's always a multi-state opportunities for discounts. So if you're thinking about, just because it's later in the year, doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it now. We will be in Michigan twice as well. So May 7th and 8th, and you'll correct me if I get the dates wrong, Julie.
That's
May
perfect.
7th
You're
and
good.
8th is in Lansing, which is the golf course. And then we go back. Last year, we did our second event closer to Detroit in an area called Shelby Township to try to service the Detroit community a little bit better. That is October 22nd, 23rd, and that's in Shelby Township. It's hard. All the dates start to run together. Then our very first event in Colorado is June 11th and 12th. And it is definitely not too soon to sign up for any of them. So all you have to do is come to our website and reach out, and we would love to talk to you guys. We have good sponsorship opportunities available. We throw parties at the events. We feed everybody. So there's always opportunities. Lanyards and bags, just like a lot of other trade shows. We're always flexible and open for people to come with creative ideas for activations that they want to put together.
Maybe one of the last things that we can talk about are what types of businesses that should come to the exchange. So we've kind of danced around who, like the retailers and the vendors, but who else can benefit from coming to the exchange?
So our category of vendors/exhibitors can be similar. We classify vendors as people that are going to take meetings. Anybody literally that is selling to retail, whether you are any kind of a brand, anything that they're going to put on their shelves. If you're a farm, if you're a processor, you have a brand to sell, this is an event you need to be at. A lot of times in the exhibitor category, we have technology people, point of sale systems, inventory systems, accountants, HR, legal, packaging, glass, anything that dispensaries need to either sell in their store or that they need to run their store should come to this event. The other group of people that come are people that want to talk to the brands and the processors and the suppliers. We don't curate those meetings, but that's what's happening in that room. There's a ton of cross-selling going on. We have a terpene company that comes. They're not selling to the retailer, but they meet with the retailers because they want to pull demand from the retailers for their particular product. But they know that they're going to come to this event and there's going to be just a ton of farms and processors there for them to talk to. Really, if you're a lighting company and you want to talk to growers, you have fertilizer, especially in a market like Colorado also, but I was going to say Oregon, where there aren't a lot of events anymore. You don't have the big trade shows coming like you do in the newer states. A lot of the products and services that the growers and the need, nobody's coming here and showcasing that. So this is a really nice small venue place that you can get to talk to a whole bunch of those people for those type of products.
Amazing.
Anybody that could service a dispensary or, vendor, come on through.
Well, even like you guys, right? So you need the retailers to hire you to do bud tender training, but you need and have relationships with the brands, because how are you going to train bud tenders if you don't understand the brands and the people that are out there in the marketplace? So that's an opportunity for you to meet those people. I would ask you that. Do the brands, the growers, do you have a service that you provide through them? Like, I know you go directly to the retailers, but what's your relationship with the brands and the growers?
We had a product at one point that was for brands, and we were just finding ourselves spread too thin. And we decided to kind of focus back and narrow what we were doing back to the retailers and the training. But that being said, we do have sponsorship opportunities as well that brands could take advantage of. For example, our coloring books. We would love for a brand to sponsor a coloring book, and we'll send them, we'll put their logo on it, put some brand information inside the coloring book, send them their own custom run that they can hand out to bud tenders. And then they get to show to the retailers, to the bud tenders, that they're a brand that invests in education. They want to make sure that the retail workers they know what they're talking about, even when it comes down to general education topics and not just like their specific brand or their specific products. So yeah, absolutely. It's been great getting to know a lot of the brands, and we also have them as guests on our podcast all the time. So yeah, it was great. And that was another success for us at the last exchange, was deepening our relationships with a lot of the brands, that some of them that we've already met, and then also meeting some new ones and getting relationships that way. So
Perfect.
we love you guys. We love the exchange, and we lost Riley.
We did lose Riley.
Tell us a little bit about your own personal journey with cannabis.
I've said this to people before. It's really funny. A lot of people that have known me my whole life are not and would not be surprised that I ended up in the cannabis industry. I'm surprised. I didn't see it coming. But people that know me, because I have been a partaker for a long time in my life. And actually, the very first, when I was a freshman in college, argumentative and persuasive writing, the very first paper I wrote was why marijuana should be legalized. So we're going back a few years when I wrote that paper. I was always a big proponent that it should be legalized for so many reasons. Obviously, even back then, knowing the medical benefits for people for their anxiety, I thought there'd be peace in the world. I think that was one of my theorems, was that it would promote peace in the world if cannabis was legalized. So here we are, still inching our way towards that. But it is funny that just through happenstance, we ended up here in this industry. That's my journey.
I love that. Julie, do you have any little anecdotes to share?
Not really. I mean, I think people would be surprised that I'm in the cannabis space. To be honest.
Yes, the opposite of me.
It's the opposite of Susan. Exactly. So
because tell them why they'd be surprised. Because you're an athlete.
Yeah, I do more athletic leaning things, run races and bike. And
do you use cannabis at all?
A tiny bit.
Well, edibles. You didn't say that you eat edibles.
Edibles. Yeah, I don't smoke, but I'll partake in edibles or
she's partial to the infused drinks.
Yeah, I like the drinks.
Oh, yes.
But
We love the
you know,
drinks.
she's been an athlete her whole life, so actually smoking is not her gig. As the industry has grown to have so many different kinds of products, it's given Julie an opportunity to see what it's all
Partake.
about.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
bring her a slushie when you see her.
And I feel like that is just a really great reminder for anybody who, I don't know, is just looking at the industry, that it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a stoner to participate in the cannabis industry. You just have to like
Exactly.
see, can understand that it is a wide reaching plant that can help in a lot of different ways. And now that the industry is growing and developing, there's a lot more ways to consume it as well that aren't smoking it. So I think that that's
Definitely.
fabulous.
Yeah, it opens it up for other people. It opened it up for Julie, for sure.
I
Yeah.
know at one of our last parties, we had it infused in cotton candy and just all fun things. It was really fun.
Yeah, see, I can
Yes.
resist those. You can't resist those.
I can't.
It's so easy.
funny.
It's like, oh, cotton candy.
I
Gotta
know.
try
I loved
it.
it. It was so much fun.
Yeah. When Riley and I were in Las Vegas in December for MJ BizCon, we visited the Dazed Consumption Lounge at Planet 13, which
Oh,
Planet
wow.
13 is the world's largest dispensary.
Dispensary.
And then they also have a consumption lounge where you actually get to go and partake in restaurant style service where they bring you a menu and you get to choose things off the menu. And one of the categories in the menu was cocktails, mocktails, but it was, infused beverages. So it just goes to show you again that like even if you don't smoke, but you want to partake in the industry, or you want to go with your stoner friends, but you don't want to smoke with them, there's still little places for you to participate that doesn't have to look like, smoking a joint or taking dabs or whatever.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys so much for telling us more about the exchange. We hope tons of people sign up in all of the places that you guys are going to be. Again, if they want to sign up, they can check out your website at
theexchangecannabis.com.
And we're going to be at the exchange as well. We're going to be podcasting and for folks to come and talk about their brands. We really want to give people an inside look at what's happening at B2B events like these so that we can keep supporting the industry and making it better and better. So thank you guys for joining us. We can't wait to see you at the exchange.
Yeah, see you
Thank
in
you.
March.
Can't
Thanks
wait
for
to see you
having
in
us.
Eugene.
Excellent. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the Exchange series on Talking Potheads. Be sure to follow us on social media at chronicgals_420 and at Take Root Training. Subscribe to the Talking Potheads podcast on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe, and share the show with all your industry buddies and help us grow. For bud tender education or dispensary training programs, visit our website for more information. And if you see us at the exchange, please say hi and we will do a mini interview with you to highlight your brand, and we will send you the clip. See you at the exchange.